Just a couple blocks off the square, they got Loafing Dog. They got the Neely Dog, the Mary Sunshine Dog, the Casey Dog, and the Shirley Dog. Why, they even got the Pacer Dog, the Brooklyn Dog, and the Jim Dog. Can't forget the Shane Dog, or the Joy Dog, and the Monty Dog. I like that fool. The Nakia Dog and the Braxton Dog round things off. Why, they even got a kid speaking too.
Loafing Dog, 208 East Chambers Street, Cleburne, Texas. Lunch, catering, or takeout, plus outdoor seating. Phone number is 817-556-1040.
This is Wilford Brimley. And don't forget, Loafing Dog won't give you diabetes.
If you are trying to quit drinking or doing too many drugs, listen to me. You don't know me and we'll never meet. I had a problem like you once. I drank and used to party a little too much till it got out of control and almost ruined my life. I realized I needed help to fix my problem before it totally destroyed me. If you've tried to fix your drinking and drug problem and you know you can't do it alone, you need to call the National Treatment Advisors. They'll immerse you into a 30-day program to replace your old habits with new habits and totally change your life. And if you have PPO private health insurance, the entire program may be covered. Fix your problem right now before it gets any worse. Get clean. Call now and learn more. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581. 877-247-1581.
Out of deck carpet giving you the blues? Tired of your old dingy and broken tile? Let my friends at the Floor Store in Cleburne, Texas give your home the makeover it deserves. This is Old Taco Joe coming to you for the Floor Store. Whether it's carpet, tile, wood flooring, or real wood laminate, the Floor Store can cover all of your flooring needs. Located at 405 West Henderson Street in Cleburne, Texas, owner Brent Harris can help. Shower tile, tub surrounds, even backsplashes. Give them a call today at 817-641-9444. The Floor Store, they got you covered.
At Romika Designs, we're more than just a laser engraving and specialty design company. Much more. I'm Ron Phillips, co-owner of Romika Designs, and if you can dream it, we can probably make it. We can custom laser cut and engrave on nearly all material. Great for one-of-a-kind gifts, home decor, business and specialty items, or personalized and logo designs created just for you or your company. Allow us to become your go-to gift and specialty project partner. Romika Designs can help make your ideas a reality. We're ready to help you design and create that special gift for any occasion or engrave your personal or business logo on just about any product. View our designs at romikadesigns.com or simply email us with your ideas. We specialize in custom design and would be honored to have the opportunity to discuss it with you. Call us at 817-400-4040, email info@romikadesigns.com, or visit us on the web at romikadesigns.com.
When you're hungry for tender brisket or some delicious homemade cobbler, then look no further than Leach Brothers Barbecue, located at 1106 East Henderson, Cleburne, Texas. Leach Brothers has been family owned and operated since 1950. Take it from me, Taco Joe Orwinski. Todd and his family have been filling my belly breakfast, lunch, and dinner for a long time. Heck, I even have my own booth, open Monday through Saturday, 6 a.m. to 7 p.m. Come see them for dine-in, carry-out, and all your catering needs.
You're listening to JoCo Community Radio.
Well, guess what?
Hello.
It's time for the Jobfather again. Guys, I am Foster Williams. I'm the Jobfather, and I've been a recruiter for a long time. I don't want to tell you guys how long. And so we've got Sean Koske with us this morning. And
Sean
is,
morning.
Sean is, he had to correct me. I said he was up in the Chicagoland area. He's not in, you're in Champaign, Urbana, aren't you?
Right.
Yeah. And guys, we want to thank JoCo Community Radio, Tiffany Hurd, who is running the ship. She's driving the bus this morning. You guys just can't see her. Hey, Tiffany. We'd like to start our show off, guys. And this show, by the way, this show is designed to give you job seekers wonderful tips on how to how to go about things that you didn't even think about while you're in your job search. And so Dana is a recruiter as well, a very, very good one. She's better than I ever thought about being. But anyway, that is our show. And I want to let Dana talk because she's going to bring us in prayer. We always bring ourselves in prayer.
Absolutely. Well, to start off with, JoCo Community Radio is proud to be the voice of Johnson County, Texas, and is live 365 on the TuneIn Radio Network. Now, you can listen or watch by simply going to TuneIn, joco.com, to choose where and how you want to tune in. So the radio app is now available for free on the Android store as well the iOS device store. You just simply search your store regardless of which platform you're using. Check out the lineup and more on jocoradio.com. Now, this episode and more is brought to you by Patriot Claims, making your insurance work for you. Reach out to your Texas sales rep, Nona Reed, at 844-TEX-HAIL or 844-839-4245. Thank you, JoCo Radio, for having us. Let's go ahead and just bow our heads real quick for a start prayer. Heavenly Father, we just thank you for this opportunity to come forth and help other people out in the industry, share knowledge, share experience, share wisdom, to support one another and love one another as we're all, trying to achieve goals, trying to find our place, and trying to fulfill our purpose. Lord, we just thank you for all that you've done for us and just pray for a productive show that will bless our viewers. Thank you that Sean Koske is here as a guest. And thank you to all the people tuning in and listening. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. I like that. Dana's got a special in with the Lord, guys, so you guys better make sure you connect with her. All right. Hey, Mez, I see our show hype lady, Mez is with us.
Hey, Mez, thanks for joining.
I call her MRQ. So she knows I'm corny. And she knows I'm growing in age, and I just like to have fun. I'm that embarrassing friend that all you guys have. The whole job search, guys, is about relationship. We're going to be talking about a little bit of that today, where our topic of the show today is going to be behavioral interviewing. And I think, you guys are going to want to, know tips and tricks on the behavioral interview, because you never know what type of interview they're going to put you through when you show up for your interview at the company. They're not going to tell you, hey, we're going to interview your behavior. So, guys, love this show and the things that it offers. So we want to go to our landings. We got a lot of people out of our network. Our network is huge, guys. It's in probably 20. Oh my God, it's all over the United States now because we are streaming radio. So there are a number of you guys that are driving around in your cars in other states. Maybe you're in Idaho, maybe you're in Montana, maybe you're in Arizona, and you're listening to us, and that's good because we want to introduce you guys to ideas and us. Okay, so let's see who landed. Okay, Janet Honeysett is a product application specialist over at Try Z Healthcare Products. And she is in Chicago, guys. So she's close to Sean, but not quite right where he is.
Yeah.
And Julie Bedgood she's in client services. You might remember Julie Bedgood, Dana. She's in client services at Fidelity Investments.
Yeah.
Meredith Wells is sales development at Varsity. My buddy Cindy Jones landed a job. I found that last night, and I told her, I said, hey, Cindy, congratulations. And
great.
Cindy's a contract recruiter over at Forum Energy Translators. I got it wrong. Forum Energy. Yeah, Forum Energy.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, I messed that up real good, didn't I?
No,
and Kenneth Woodfolk, we're glad you landed. He's a talent acquisition. We like to keep up with people that are in talent acquisition for obvious reasons, right? So Kenneth is in talent acquisition at AWS. You guys know what AWS is? Amazon Web Services, big old company. Have you guys ever heard of Amazon? Have you ever heard of these companies that are part of them? I don't know. You might want to talk to Meg Rose about that one. Okay, so guys, and now real quickly, I'm trying to get through this so that we can get to Dana and I talking about behavioral interviewing. Okay, now I want you guys to go to see these job postings from these companies that I'm going to mention to you right now. I want you to go to search for the number 4, the letter U, inc.com to see the elaborate postings on all these jobs I'm about to tell you have been shared with us, and we need to let you guys know. Okay, that's search, SEARCH, the number 4, and the letter U, inc.com. So I'm going to throw Saddle Creek Logistics to you guys. Saddle Creek Logistics is just a little bit north of here in the Metroplex in Aubrey, I think they are. There is a fulfillment and distribution manager over there, and we are going to go to search for you to see the description of those positions. The fulfillment manager, you guys are used to that word fulfillment now because of Amazon. When you guys order products, you got to get them right. Mm-hmm. They got to make sure that they're going to the right place. They got the right product. They got to get to the right person. And then the distribution manager that they are going to hire is going to be the one to make sure that that gets done. So him and the fulfillment manager are going to work hand in hand there. So guys, remember, at Search for You, these job postings are there. Apria Healthcare needs a respiratory therapist. I needn't say anything more. Check out Apria, APRIA Healthcare, and look on their website, and you will see the posting for respiratory therapists. Now, that again, that's on searchforyouinc.com. And there's a corporate credit manager at our company over in Dallas, Clampett Paper Company. Dana and I like that because it reminds us of the Beverly Hillbillies. Clampett Paper Company, guys, over there. And the last but not least, we have a job over at Venture Solutions in Fort Worth. We talk about Dallas all the time. Now we got somewhere to talk about Fort Worth. There's a fully remote IT project manager that exists there. Guys, the hiring manager is going to be my good friend, David Woods. And when I say he's my good friend, I go hang out with him and his wife, Beth, at their house, and we eat and do all kinds of stuff. So this job is fully remote. I thought that was neat for a project management opportunity. And check them out on searchforyouinc.com, and you will see David's information. If you want to contact me about it, because I know there's a lot of project managers in Dallas-Fort Worth, and if you want to, you don't have to move to Dallas-Fort Worth. This job's remote. You guys can be in New York. How about that? Okay. So this is what's going on. And that is a conclusion of our job postings that we're going to talk about today. So Dana, let's talk a little bit about behavioral interviewing. Tell us, you're a recruiter. Start this conversation about behavioral interviewing. Good morning, Marcel Tennyson. I see you, brother.
Hey, Marcel. Hey. Well, behavioral interviewing is something that I think has been utilized through many years in terms of interviewing, but it is becoming more and more common and more used because it allows the interviewer to gain job-related information and make hiring decisions based on how the interviewee is able to discuss their experience as it relates to the job and the way they actually handled things while in previous roles that are similar. And scientifically, it is easier to ask for examples and learn more about a person's behavior and way of doing things and how it relates to the role, which typically come in the form of open-ended questions, versus just, have you ever done this? Yes or no. Are you okay with doing this? Yes or no. So the behavioral approach predicts performance. And so as interviewers, when we are interviewing our listeners, we want to get an idea of performance to the best of our ability, and behavior can predict that. So our listener today, Sean Koske, who will be with us throughout the whole show, initially was going to come in as a job seeker, but great news, Sean has landed a role, which we'll find out a little bit more about.
Hey.
And I'm interested as we go through and discuss behavioral interviewing a little bit. I'm going to set the stage now, but we're going to find out a little bit more from Sean on his experience, not only as he was being interviewed, especially in the market, just secured a new role. We'll be able to find out a little bit more about his experience, the type of interviews he experienced, and tips that he can share for our viewers in the behavioral interviewing space. A couple really important tips for those listening. As the interviewer is asking you questions, and Sean may very well be privy to this, and Sean, please speak up and contribute on any topic here as we're setting the stage for our conversation in the second half. But as those of us, whether we're the hiring leader or the recruiter, and we're talking to the candidate, be sure to be able to explain and discuss your experience as it relates and give examples. But in doing that, here are a few things to avoid as you're getting into a behavioral interviewing situation with the person that's interviewing you. Be prepared to be able to share examples of what you've done and how you've handled things, both in positive lights and then anything that might have been a challenge, how you overcame it. If you have difficulty sharing behavioral examples, it could keep you from being the top candidate that they're talking to and interviewing.
I want to chime in if I can. I don't want to cut you off unless if you're still going.
No, it's okay. If you have, go for it.
As a longtime recruiter, guys, we're always talking when we go into an interview. It'd be easy to answer a question like, "What's your greatest strength?" And then we hate what's your weakness, and we get asked those questions because we want to be led into a conversation. In that conversation, we want to show that company that we've thought about them, we've thought about what they do, what this job is, all that sort of thing. You might hear here's a good behavioral question I used to ask. Give us an example of a goal you failed to meet and how you handle the situation. Because that, guys, is very important that you maintain that eye contact with that interviewer. When Anderson Consulting was interviewing me, they put me through a behavioral interview a long time ago. And that was one of the first questions that she asked me. And people like Marcel Tennyson and myself, we have those kind of personalities where we'll go through. Good morning, Christina Matthews. And our personalities tend to lend positively towards behavioral interviews, because what the company is trying to see, guys, when I used to ask those questions, I want to see, okay, I see this on your I see this, what I'm looking for on your resume. I want you to prove it. I want you to tell me something. I want to tell me some things that you went through. Now, remember, guys, when we're answering these questions, always remember what we're there talking to the people about. What is their need? If they need to hire an environmental artist, then I don't need to be going in there talking about my tractor on the farm, right? And my life and stuff. Sean is going to share with us a little bit later what an environmental artist is. That's kind of neat. I just read up about it a little bit last night, so I would at least sound like I know what I'm talking about when I talk to Sean, but we'll see how that goes. But guys, in these behavioral interviews, we are trying to figure out, okay, what situations have you been in? And you know what? At the same time, maybe you've been in a situation at your previous companies and you handle it in a way that we may be able to learn from you in the interview. And there's nothing wrong with that, because we're determining whether we want to hire you or not. We want to know how you handle things. And so there's a lot of reasons why these questions are behavioral. Okay, I'm going to shut up, Dana.
No, we're good. We're good. What I wanted to do is set the stage on a couple things to avoid when getting into behavioral situations. So talking too much is one of them. because it can cut off a few other important questions they might need to ask you
Right.
in order to get the bigger picture of your qualifications. And to kind of piggyback off of what Foster said, and Sean, I'm sure you probably got this question. I'll be interested to hear from you, but don't be afraid I was going to say, don't be afraid of questions that ask about weakness. It's not that they're worried about what your weakness is. They want to see if you're able to identify where you excel and where you could use improvement, because everybody has opportunity for improvement. But more importantly, how you go about approaching that weakness to overcome it. It's really about overcoming, because we all have weaknesses. So the strategy isn't just to get them to name a weakness. The strategy is, I've recognized this, but this is how I'm overcoming. So that's the goal with that. And Sean, did you find that when you were conducting, or whether you were conducting or being a part of you were definitely a part of the interview search while you were, job search while you were interviewing, did you find a lot of questions around, a weakness or a time that you've overcome a situation?
When I was being interviewed, not so much. When we were interviewing, we definitely wanted to bring that up, especially because a lot, mostly because of being remote. We're remote still temporarily. We are interviewing people to be remote permanently, and you really want to see, how do you handle, when you're stuck at home, being stuck in the office, in terms of like, I'm not sure what to do and who to ask. You can just get up and walk around. When you're remote, being proactive through, Teams or Slack and emails. How do you handle being stuck, or you are behind? Do you reach out to your production partners or project managers and your peers to make sure you have what you need? Because if you are remote, and they, or do they handle those situations well? Are they a little bit aggressive in meetings? Are you respectful? You have to really see, like, because people oftentimes aren't, right? So you want to see, like, how are you, right? Like, sure, you're qualified. We're talking to you for that reason. Are you a team player? Do you work well with others? Those kinds of sort of human to human details are really what you want to see, because you're qualified. Will you work well with us? Do you work well with others is really important to get through, because that's sort of like, they get hired, you go, oh, this guy was great, but now that he's here, we're not really getting along like we thought we would.
Great, not so great.
That's good. It reminds me of Mez and I, Meg Rose Caterio, and I talk about this all the time, because she was challenged with it. It wasn't a big challenge for her because she's such a giver. But, I like this question. Another question that I would ask is, tell me about a time when you solved a problem at your job that wasn't part of your job description. Now, guys, when you answer that question, that's going to tell me a lot about your attitude. That's going to tell me a lot about how interested are you in this company and being a part of this family and doing what you do. I see my buddy Heather Campbell is with us as well. Hey, Heather, good morning. Is it morning? It's not morning where Heather is. Heather's an hour ahead of us, I think. But you know what, guys? I like that question. But always remember that it's not a lot of times what you say, but it's how you say it. And a person that's been trained, like Dana, a person that's been trained in behavioral interviewing is taught to do those kind of things. We are there to discern what we can about not only what you tell us, but how you say it. Because how you say it can prove whether or not that you're trying to tell me something that you think I want to hear, or you telling me the truth, or you being honest with me about a situation that you have been through in your job in the past. So Dana, is it okay when we're asked a question like that? Is it okay if we pause for a minute, take a little bit of minute to think about what it is that we're going to get, the answer that we're going to give?
100%. Good interviewers are trained to allow individuals to pause and think. It is better to pause and think and give a meaningful answer than just spew something out to try to fill the gaps. That can actually be a red flag. And that kind of aligns with what I was going to say. The next thing is be very careful not to have rehearsed answers. It's okay to practice, kind of your direction, but people can read through rehearsed answers. And if you don't pause sometimes and give meaningful thought to responding, and you just spew out a rehearsed answer, it could come across as insincere, or maybe someone that, says what people want to hear, but they're not really engaged. Kind of what Sean was getting at. Like we know they're qualified, but are they going to work well with us? And are they going to genuinely listen? Are they going to be thoughtful in their responses? Are they going to be dominant in meetings, or are they going to actually listen? So those things are really important in behavioral.
They look qualified on paper, or else you wouldn't be in this conversation to start with.
Yes, exactly.
I had to get close to the camera on that one, Dana.
Yep, because of the whole.
Another question, guys. Think about this. Job seekers, listen to this question. Tell us of the time where you took a risky decision and it didn't pay off. How do you handle that type of situation? That one's really digging in. These behavioral interview questions, guys, are gonna make us really think, and it's really kind of hard to lie about that kind of stuff. If you start telling me what you think I want to hear, I am going to register that in my mind, and I know Dana will too, because Dana's done as many as I have.
It is.
So tell us about a decision tell us about a risky decision that you took and it didn't work out. How in the world did it all pan out?
Yeah. Exactly. And I'm looking real quick. I am trying to, one thing interviewers are trying to do is they're not only trying to find, here it is, people that have the right talent and skills for the role, but they're a good organizational fit. They are respectful. They work well with others. They don't have major chips on their shoulders. They're able to listen and be genuine in their thinking and their response time. But they also have a passion for what they're doing. In other words, the role that you're hiring for is an alignment for where they're at in their career, and there's a passion for it. They're not taking a major step back or an overstep forward to where, the passion may not be there because the skills and the personal abilities have not yet been developed. Sean, when you were conducting interviews, you brought this up. The skills are there, but you were trying to make sure they were a good organizational fit and they truly enjoyed what they were doing. There's passion behind it. What kind of questions did y'all ask to kind of help guide responses and identify with these candidates that they were a good fit for the team and that they really did enjoy doing what they're saying they're doing, so that when they come in, they're going to be motivated and perform the job well?
Yeah, what we do is it's a very creative industry. Okay. So we wanted to see sort of where what their creative process is like. Each game studio operates very differently in terms of how much an artist is given to be creative versus, do this in a very rigid type manner. And the range of freedom artists have and how proactive they are versus, being more told what to do. And then when they do something proactive, kind of like that risky decision, did you reach out to people that are impacted? Game design is very sort of segmented between artists and designers and audio and programming. If you do something that's going to impact another group, did you let them know? Did you work with them in a collaborative way? What was that like? Did they like your idea? Did it cause more work from them? And then you reacted, because you can't just do, what we do is never just do your job. Like, it's not just like make the widget, right? That widget's going to be impacted by the entire team. If you just want to come to work and just make the thing, that's not what we need. We're a big studio. We need someone to sort of be aware of that thing is impacting other people, and how did you handle that interaction with them in a way that it could go a few ways, where some people don't think about those kinds of things and don't want to, and some people do, and you can kind of tell, like, okay, this person's really interested in being that collaborator, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Sean, what you do, in my estimation, what you do is really, really neat. It's really, really involved. And if you were talking to somebody that's interviewing for a job, you've probably done that job yourself. You've probably, been around the team that did that job, whatever it is, or however they fit in. And when you start asking these questions and people start telling you things about their experiences, you'll be able to tell whether they've actually been in that situation or not in the past, rather than asking these close-ended, I guess you call them close-ended questions that you can answer with a yes or no. No, I want to know, you say you've done this. Let's talk about it. I've done it myself. Let's talk about it. So guys, we can't go in there and what do they say? Fake it till you make it kind of thing.
No. That would not work in Sean's line of work.
No faking here. Christina, you remember that conversation we had? No faking until you make it here, boy. So that's what I love behavioral interviews. I don't tell when I'm interviewing people, I don't tell them that's what I'm going to do, but it ends up being that way. So I thought I heard music. You know what that means, Dana?
Music. Yeah. When we come
Stay
back
with
to
us, guys. We will be back after commercial break.
Yes. Yes, we will.
Phone and call. That's right. Call, because the best prices are not online. They're with SmartFares. See, SmartFares has special deals with the airlines. When they have unsold seats, they use SmartFares to fill them. So you get airline tickets at ridiculously low prices. Our prices are too low to publish online. With the extra money you'll save, you can book another trip or treat yourself to dinner or shopping. So stop searching all of those travel sites to find the lowest price on your next flight. Let one of our SmartFares expert travel agents find ridiculously low prices for you. Call SmartFares today and get the best price on your next flight. Guaranteed. Also, save up to 50% off business and first class tickets.
855-325-1820. 855-325-1820. That's 855-325-1820.
Hey, there's something you forgot to do. It sure is hot. Are you sweating like a dog? Wait, what? Dogs don't sweat. Oh no, you forgot to get your window tinted. Whether it's the kitchen window that sits in the sun for the hottest part of the day, or you just got new wheels, call Sharp Window Tinting in Burleson. 817-615-9379, or look them up on the web, sharpwindowtint.com.
Fast Track Student Loans can get your student loans out of default, stop any wage garnishments, stop collection calls, and stop seizure of your tax refund. Give yourself a break. Stop the stress and get your student loan payments down to as little as $25 a month based on what you can afford to pay. 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395, 800-709-4395.
Joco Community Radio. Listen live at tunein.com.
We are back, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey.
And Dana, I see my buddy David Ball has joined us.
Hey, David.
Dave Ball is a man in the whole 50 grand.
Yeah.
I love Mr. David Ball.
Love it.
David, I hope you're going to be at the meeting this afternoon. If you are, I'll see you up there at Judy's meeting. But I want to take time and guys, you are the prayer lady, Dana. Maybe you remember Mark McDonald's mom died and he's out of town right now because he's got to go and attend to all of the things you got to do when your parents die. So we want to say a quick prayer for Mark. Would you mind doing that, Dana?
Oh, yeah, no problem. Dear Heavenly Father, we just ask that you would be with Mark and his entire family during this challenging time. We just ask that you would provide them peace and strength that only you can do. Lead, guide, and direct them and just give them strength during this challenging time. In your name we pray, Jesus. Amen.
Amen. Mark, we love you, man. Guys, Mark is a part of a nationwide service as part of our Career Search Network. It's called the Pit Crew. Now, what in the world is the Pit Crew, Foster? We're not car racers like you want to be. I'm a wannabe. It's a practice interview team, guys. practice interview training. So you guys can connect with Mark McDonald and set up. If you got an interview coming, you want to get a little bit of practice. It's a wonderful service because there are a number of C-level, VP level, higher level people that have been through interviews and interviewing people as part of their job. And these folks get together and they grill you. And you know what? The practice interview will be tougher than the one that you'll actually have. And
Yeah,
there are people that look on, they add their feedback. It's really, really a neat service, and people do well. And they get in there and they get those interviews done. They talk about behavioral interviewing. In the future, I'm going to have I like this behavioral interview thing. I'm going to have my buddy join us, Henry Jordan, who's part of the South Lake Focus Group leadership. I'm going to have him join us, and we're going to have another behavioral interview show in short order, guys, probably in the next 2-3 weeks. So get ready for that. We're going to talk more about this. So we are back to behavioral interviewing. We've got Sean Koske with us. Sean is in Champaign-Urbana, Illinois. And I didn't say Illinois. Did you hear that? So, guys, we're talking about behavioral interviewing and what it's all about. What can we expect? I want to start this line of communication. Guys, are you familiar with the STAR method? Situation, task, action, and result. You can look up STAR method in everywhere about interviewing. It'll tell you about that. So if somebody asks you a question, like those questions that I asked earlier, how did you handle, a situation that you took a chance on doing? How did it end up, in your company? It's kind of one of those decisions you made when you knew you were taking a chance. It's kind of iffy, but sometimes we have to make those decisions and how it turned out. So if you get asked that question in a behavioral interview, you probably want to start with that situation that you were in before. And what was your task that you put together in your head to handle that situation? What was the action that you took behind that task? And then we want to talk about the result of that. How did it turn up? Did it turn up positive? Did it turn up not so positive? Or did it turn out really, really not very positive? But, how was all that handled? And, going through all of that, my God, it'll tell you a whole bunch about that person. It'll tell you about their experience that they've had before. Everybody doesn't do what Sean Koske does. So let's go to Sean now. And Sean, explain to us what an environmental artist and an outside artist is. Explain it to us who you are, what you do. I like your background, given what it is that you do. I like your background back there.
Thanks. So if you're familiar with, video games, when the player is walking through the world, whether it's, on grass or in outer space, or, jumping through some sort of, magical fantasy land, all the world that the player walks through is what we do. We kind of just create the world for the character to walk on and through and have the adventures. We're kind of like city planners in a way, where we lay things out, and architects, and get to kind of just make the world for the player to explore.
That's interesting. Yeah, I just thought, because when I saw, Sean and Dana knew each other. I didn't know Sean previously, and Dana was telling me about Sean. I'm like, oh my goodness, what a neat job, what a neat opportunity, because a whole lot of us like the gaming industry, and we like, I'm a typical dude. I like those fight 'em up, shoot 'em up kind of kind of games, and that environment that you're walking through is what Sean's talking about. And I'm a nerd anyway, so I like that kind of stuff. I have all kind of ideas in my head right now about things, but you do that kind of stuff. I don't. I'll just throw the ideas out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. And what's fun is, we are going through hiring at the company I'm at currently. The amount of universities that have game design programs has just exploded. So the amount of young talent out there trying to break in, these kids have been playing games their whole lives, and now they're learning it at college trying to break into the industry. Um, it's really exciting, but it's just so competitive. So
Yeah.
anyone that can do anything like what you've been describing about, interviewing is not. I think you think as the interviewee, you just answer the phone and go hello. Like you need to be ready with all kinds of research in the
Yes.
company and interview these star techniques and have your questions ready because we're going to call a lot of people. And if you're not ready and prepared and have good answers, right, we had two positions open and had over 500 applicants.
Wow.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
Wow. Now
Was that
that's
pre-COVID
interesting.
or during COVID? Or I guess
Yeah.
we're 90% post-COVID now, I guess it'd be safe to say.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's going remote really made those numbers increase because a lot of people don't want to relocate, and
Ah,
us being, kind of remote in Illinois has been a struggle because if you don't want to come, to the Midwest, it's been an issue. But with remote
Right.
opportunities, yeah, that number just exploded. So if you want to stand out amongst, those hundreds of other applicants, being prepared and really knowing where you're applying. I don't think this is unique to what we do. If you're applying to a company that does something specific, be prepared to talk to them about what they do, not just what you've done, because they need to
yeah, it's
know
about
you can
them.
do
Yeah.
their job. Do you know what we do? Because when you get here, we want you to know that you know who we are, what we do. And we've had people, we talk to them on the phone or through Teams, and we ask them about our games, and they're unprepared. They're like, I think
Really?
you did. And I'm like,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
applied to work for me. You need to know all of my games and all of my.
Wow.
It's all
Yeah.
public. It isn't like I have secret information that you can't get
Yeah.
to. Like, go to
Yeah.
YouTube, go to our website. Like, you need to know all about what we do because if you don't know what we do, how do I even know you want to do what I do? If you just blast all the studios with resumes, it's
Yeah.
like, do you
Is
know
there a
like
passion for
right? Do you
it?
even know what I do? Do you want to
Yeah.
work for me or just for anyone? And at that point, it's like I don't want to work. I don't want someone to come here that's just like I want a job. Like sure, we all want a job, but we do stuff that's very
It's
creative and
amazing. Yeah.
passionate.
That's amazing how those people show up. Yeah.
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 Dana and I serve the network, and we've been doing it for a number of years now. So what we tell a lot of people, guys, it's not about us. But when you let's be common, let's use a little bit of common sense now. You see a job, this company obviously has need for somebody to come in and do something
Right.
specific around, say what Sean does. And by the way, Mez asked a question earlier. Mez, this is usually the part of the show where we have a job seeker and we spotlight the job seeker, but Sean just landed a job. So we got a unique situation today. So
Yeah.
Sean's going to be with us and talk about. It sounds like Sean's done some interviewing himself, so
Mhm.
this
Yeah.
is perfect for
Yeah.
him to be in this conversation with us throughout the whole show as we dedicate it to behavioral interviewing. So, getting back to that behavioral interview, Dana and I tell people it's not about us, guys. It's about that company. So,
Yeah.
in a lot of job seekers, and I hate to pick on us baby boomers and Gen Xers, we, a lot of us want to tell how wonderful our career has been and
Yeah.
all of that, but we don't make it. There's two R's in job search that you're going to find are most prevalent, probably most important is going to be relationship. You knew I was going to come up. Oh, wait a minute, Dane. I'm supposed to get close to the screen when I say that.
Relationship.
Relationship and relevance, guys.
Yeah.
Relevance. When we're telling about our okay, it's wonderful. You had a wonderful career, but we're here to talk with Sean about something that he has. Maybe he's hiring an environmental artist. If you are that, then our questions are our answer, and we're talking about our career, should be targeted towards how we got to be this environmental artist, because that's what Sean's looking for. It's not about us job seekers, it's about the company that you're interviewing with. I think that's kind of common sense. I said, Foster, you didn't have to tell us that. That's common sense. Well, is it?
You'd
Yeah.
think.
Well, earlier I was mentioning what we're looking for: talent. Do they have the right skill sets? Organization. Are they going to fit within the organization and within the team dynamic with the right attitude and approach and compatibility and passion to do the role? All three of that means researching the organization you're going into. We call it TOP.
Yes.
The person that has all three of those, the talent, the organizational mindset, and the ability to come in and work as a healthy team member and a passion to do the role that you're hiring for, that's a top hire. And so as job seekers, if we can keep that in mind, and I agree with Sean, we need to research the company that we're looking at. Why do you specifically want to work with them, and what skills do you have that would lend nicely to that specific organization, or what background do you have that could benefit that specific organization? Mm-hmm. So, Sean, now tell us, okay, so you are interviewing for your current company, and then you have a new role, correct? Will you be working remote? And is this a similar position, or tell us?
Will you be working remote? Yeah,
it is. Yeah, that was sort of how it came to be. We are pretty isolated, geographically. Our kids are at the age now where relocating isn't really an option. So with this new trend of remote possibilities, this I wasn't really even looking to leave, but recruiters are very proactive, as you know, and they are aware of this trend, right? So them offering remote opportunities to people that they are either themselves in areas where it's tough to get people to come, and they know that people are much more willing to take a remote job because I don't have to sell my house and move the kids' schools. It's just a matter of like, ship me a computer and I can do your job, assuming again that they're in a position to absorb that in a way that that employee can be successful, right? If I'm at home and I'm alone and I'm isolated and they're on the studio having meetings in the kitchen, right? I won't be successful, and it's not my fault. It's your fault that you're not really creating an online sort of community to have me be successful. And so someone reached out to me at a studio in LA, and it's a place that it's tough to relocate to, but when you get that kind of opportunity to do something in a place in the country that is hard to live for a really big project, the job is very close to what I do now, so it's not like it's something very different. So I think the confidence I have in what I do, and then doing it there at a different, kind of a project, was just exciting. So I was really excited to make that change.
Wow.
Sean, you're right. LA is a different dynamic altogether. I had 2 years in Los Angeles. I really enjoyed myself. And I think they enjoyed me being from Texas with the daggum accent that I have. And we had a blast out there at UCLA. But you made a good point. You being the environmental artist, you've got an environment that you focus on for your job. But then again, guys, the environment, the city, the environment that you live in has a lot to do with overall stuff as well as your job.
Mm-hmm. And the environment of like where you sit, right? If I sat in a room full of people, right, that energy is, we used to think it was irreplaceable, right? How could you work here and not be in this room and not sit next to me?
Right.
And it turns out over the past couple of years, it's not, at least for us. I think there are some industries where, being back in person is
important. Yeah.
It's important, right? Some companies can't do remote, at least not broad, scale. For us, the people we've had that have been remote, I mean, we shipped a whole game from home, right? And it worked. Wow. Some people still miss, the interactions of the coffee pot, right, and the kitchen chats. Like you miss it, and some people will go back to the studio. But the people that are okay being at home are even more productive than they were because there's less interruptions. I can control my day, my time. I can control who comes to my desk. Personally, my position here was a lead, so I sort of managed the artists and the sort of people popping by my desks and the interruptions and the meetings where I have to go to a meeting like upstairs, right? That's walking upstairs. I'm interrupted in the hallway. Now meeting is just click, I'm there, click, I'm out. And during the meeting, I'm writing emails and the multitasking.
Same
way
here.
better, right?
Yes.
Hey, Sean, how long have you been doing what you do?
I started maybe 06, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. So Sean went to NYU. He got, was it a master's to do the specific type of
Yes,
Yeah.
we were in New York. This is
Wow.
early in sort of like yeah, in the early 2000s, and
Mhm.
wasn't games wasn't my goal. Like I didn't seek out doing games, and was doing
Okay.
some work in New York, and those kinds of jobs are very, short term. It's like a gig economy in New York. Everyone does little short jobs. They can stay
Right.
flexible. We had just had our first kid and need something more more structured and sort of permanent. So the game job came up, and rest is history.
Hey,
Yeah.
Sean, as a recruiter, I'd like to know when you were before the kids and all, when you were a little younger, were you a gamer? Are you that type of person that that gets a lot of joy out of that world?
Yeah, and you have to be. I think to do something where it's a creative
Yeah.
process. Like if you're an architect, you can't go, I'm not really into buildings, right? You have to
Yeah.
love what you
True.
do. Um, and we had people we've interviewed that aren't, and they go, I'm not really into playing much, especially with what we do. Even if you play games, you need to not just play games. You need to play the kinds of games we make, because
Right.
the
Ah,
game
okay.
spectrum. There's Mario, right, and there's wizards. Like the kinds of games. If you play the wizard games, that's great. I do too, but you have to play what we make, because the industry evolves so quickly. The
Yeah.
company that's making a similar game, you have to be aware of what they're doing to be competitive and be relevant. If you're like, oh, I don't know what they're doing,
Hmm.
they could be suddenly doing things that were suddenly outdated and irrelevant because they're doing things that we weren't even aware of.
Uh-huh.
What kind of games do you do right now?
They're called open world, so it's
Okay.
essentially the player gets to just we make a city, and they just get to kind of explore and walk around, and there's all kinds of content to play and enemies to fight and things pop up, but it's very much just we make a giant city, and
Okay.
people just get to explore. If people want to look up Saints Row, it's our newest game coming out in
Okay.
August.
Saints Row. All
So we're
right.
getting ready to do a big release, yeah, in this summer.
Because I've noticed advertisements for a number of games that are like you're building the world, like you're building your world as you go, or you're exploring.
Hmm.
Um, my nieces play a game. Dang on it! I know you know it, but it's like they explore worlds and find animals, and then the
Hmm.
more animals they find, like the more points they get, or
Right.
something. But it's fascinating to see the
It
background and all
is.
that.
Yeah.
It's so detailed and so thought out.
Yeah, yeah, and the fans are just crazy about what not just we do, but just there was a big I don't know what you want to call it. It used to be like a convention where they'd go to LA and they'd rent out the Staples Center.
Ah,
It's all
yeah.
virtual now. So there's a big game
What?
fest.
Oh, cool.
Yesterday was just virtual, so it was just sort of like a streaming video, but the fan sort of buy-in on these games is just they go nuts for these
There's
games.
such a
Yeah.
man. There's so many different types of industries out there in what you do. It's kind of awesome. And a person like me, I'm a Galaga guy, so that ought to tell you something. I
Right.
remember Galaga and Defender, and I'm more of a pinball. I'm a pinball wizard in some cases, but I am one of those baby boomer Gen Xer kind of age kind of guy. So I think I just told off on myself. But yeah, what I like to ask, another behavioral interview question that I like to ask, and it might come from the HR person, it might come, probably should come from your hiring manager when you're interviewing with your hiring manager, is okay, Sean, how did you get where you, what interested you? How did you get here? What
Yes.
made you interesting? And so kind of what they're asking is give me a storyline of your career and how you
Hmm.
ended up liking what you do and how you ended up getting where you get and all that kind of thing. And that tells me a lot about the person, guys. I am one of the few. I think Dana's one of these too, but we've got the hardcore stuff on your resume. We
Yeah.
want to know who we're dealing with. We want to know your what kind of person you are. I call it intangibles. We've got the tangibles that's on your paper. But those intangible things is okay. If I'm going to hire Scott, what am I thinking about? Scott, I'm thinking about Scott Pendleton. Hey, buddy, out there, I know you're listening to me. But if Sean if I'm going to hire Sean, I want to know who Sean is, kind of get an idea of how I think Sean might be a better fit into this company than somebody else.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You just want to know what you're dealing with. And guys, I say guys, job seekers, interview the companies as well. This is 2022, you guys. Find out what you're plugging yourself into. Every time I turn on the TV, I see something. Wow, really? Somebody did that? And companies make up those very people. So guys, you want to know, you want to ask very probing questions. Don't be timid to ask very probing questions as to what you're getting yourself into. Just a thought.
Yeah, the best interviewees we've had have been the ones that have asked the most questions, because it shows that they both know what we do and they know what they need to know to do it, right? If it's a lot of the ones like the younger students coming out of college, right? They haven't worked yet, so the end of the interview is kind of any questions for us? No, not really, because they don't really know.
It's kind of high.
They don't know what to ask. Yeah,
it's fine, right? This is your first career job. It's fine. But if you're a professional that's been around a while and we get to that point and they're like, no, not really, then I'm like, man, you should be asking me just 1,000 questions about how do we do what we do? You've done what we do somewhere else. You should be very interested in how will you do your job here? And so the more prep you have, the more questions you have, I'd rather them get to the point where it's like, okay, I've never said you've asked too many, right? There's probably, it probably exists, but the more questions you can ask them, it's just great for the whole process.
Agreed.
I've got a guy that I have just recently met over, I think the last month. His name is Seth. He's from Baltimore, and he's a young one, just getting started in his career. But his level of interest in where he's going and the questions that he asks is very, very impressive. If you get a young one, like what Sean's talking about, that is fresh out of college, and they really, really have an interest in what it is they're talking to you about, that's kind of impressive. Because if that interest is there, guys, now this is Mr. Optimistic Foster, but if that interest is there, you can build, what's the word we like to say? We like to craft that person into what we want them to do here at this company. They've already got the interest. They're already excited about the job and being a part of it. So you can kind of lead them in a direction that you want them to go in. Okay, I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, we have a couple of students coming in that we're going to probably move forward with because they are just so
they're into it, huh?
So into it. They're so hungry. They're so excited. Like, to mold that into what we need is better than someone with like 5-10 years kind of stuck in their ways where it's you're pretty good, but at that skill is a lot of baggage. And so definitely if you're still, a lot of companies will say you need to have X numbers of years. Like, still get in there and try to work your way into that just through your energy and your interest.
Absolutely. You can teach people how to ask and answer questions. You can't teach people to have passion, a good attitude, a drive to learn. And that will set them apart. And those things come out through behavioral interviewing, which is why we'll probably spend a couple shows, as Foster mentioned, talking about it, because for our viewers, and I'm sure Sean can agree with this, it is important to understand what the interviewer is looking for and why they're asking these behavioral based questions. And at the end of it, they're trying to determine scientifically if your background, your attitude and approach, and your passion for the job is going to align to make you the best possible fit, to be the most productive and good at what you do to help the company get where they need to go.
Yeah. What's uncomfortable is you have to really be a salesman, which people aren't comfortable doing. You have to sell me on you, right? Which is it's weird to use the word I instead of we, and to talk about your achievements and how great you are. But if you don't, no one will, and then it's over, and you go, crap, I didn't talk about the things that I did that makes me stand out. And then you think they'll ask you. And if it doesn't come through, then you just get put in a pile of maybes, and you maybe never get past that.
Maybe.
But it's a learning experience. If you go, crap, I wished I would have done that. At least it's a learning experience. So the next time around, you do sell yourself. You do stand out. So you bring out a really good point.
Yeah.
I hear music,
Thank you,
guys.
Sean.
It is time to put the X on the show. It's over. And Sean, we really, really appreciate you. Especially, we want to congratulate you on getting the job,
Yes,
brother.
congrats.
Yeah, thank you. It's very
We
exciting.
will see everybody next Friday at 11 o'clock Central Standard Time.
The
Join us again,
Jobseeker.
David Ball.
See everybody. Have a good weekend. Bye.
Accelerated Graphics and Signs, 101 East Renfro, Sweet Sea in Burleson, Texas, can handle all of your graphic needs. Need a banner or promotional products for your business? They got you covered. T-shirts and caps for your group. All you need to figure out is if you want them screen printed or embroidered. How about some slick graphics on that hot ride to make you stand out from the crowd? Accelerated Graphics and Signs can